this mess, millions of pounds of trash, tens of thousands of needles. A local volunteer group sounding the alarm tonight about some of the dangerous trash they say keeps washing up along creeks and rivers in the Sacramento region.
Your reporter Kayla Moeller is getting answers on the issue and what the group wants done about it.
Just clean up the garbage, Al.
We are trying to shed light on what we perceive to be a public health risk.
You think?
River City Waterway Alliance is sharing photos of the more than 19,000 needles they've removed from in and around local rivers and creeks.
Is that all?
There are so many, they've decided to hand count them and keep a log.
Our concern was not necessarily just that we're finding needles, but what other impacts that has on society, not just within the camps, but downstream. Because they float, they end up everywhere.
During winter, the water ebbs and flows, dispersing needles and other trash miles away, sometimes burying the needles in sand and brush.
You might think that you're in an area by Discovery Park where there are no active camps, there's no active drug use going on, but little do you know that on that beach could be needles that have flushed down from upstream when the water was higher.
I know it's a needle in a haystack.
This is the start of jug 17. They've got 16 more just like this, filled to the brim with needles they've found over the last 2 years.
You know, we're not out here to say that there shouldn't be needle exchange programs. We're just questioning whether or not it's an actual exchange.
Good point. Good point. Terry, I thought you were talking about needles like from pine trees because of all the fires. And when I saw this video, I was like, wait a minute, those aren't trees. Those are needles that people put in their arms and stuff. Like I was thinking fire, but this is way beyond fire. How many needles were in there?
19,000 needles, David. Exchange. By the way, needle exchange. That means if you have a needle, leave a needle. If you need a needle, take a needle. Isn't that how it works with pennies? So let's do it with needles. But no. Let's just drop off boxes of needles. Who do you think's doing that? Do you think? I bet you that homeless organizations, nonprofits, are getting money. They're giving some of it to their executives to make millions of dollars, but they're also buying boxes and boxes and boxes of needles.
What if a little young kid finds it or something? I mean, if there's 19,000 of them, you know that the people are going to accidentally find it and it's going to get in the wrong hands. I mean, my goodness.
Well, what's the purpose of needles? Why do they give them out? To help stop the spread of hepatitis, right? And other diseases. Oh, so let's just give it to some little kid playing by the river now. And we've saved the homeless person from getting hepatitis. But, we'll let him OD on fentanyl because that's coming across unabated. But needles, yeah, we'll just give them out to anybody, anywhere, and throw boxes at them and then just let them dispose of them themselves. I'm sure they drop off these little safe needle things for them to put them in too.
Well, I want to say that we're not trying to pick on California, but we're kind of picking on California, but they make it so easy for us. I mean, these are things that I think we talk about children. I think children could solve some of these problems. It's not that complicated, Terry. They could solve these, but they just don't want to. And I'm never for the life of me going to understand why they don't want to actually solve the problems. We don't want to get too political today, but I mean, let's face it. The border, they were having 10,000, 20,000 a day, and now they're down to less than 500. They fixed it. So why can't they fix stuff in California? That's my point.
I don't know if they want to. It's all about power and money. Remember, it's about power and money. It's about higher taxes. It's about power. It's about indoctrinating robots who want to feel the same way. We're going to ruin the precious planet. We need to give free needles and drugs and money. We need to give cash to drug addicts because that way they can buy a hamburger. Oh, you mean they spent that on heroin? Oh, we told them not to. Well, here's some more cash. Well, this time, I know it's been 100 times, but this time do not spend it on heroin or fentanyl.
Well, here's the deal, guys. It looks like it's not going to stop. So we're going to continue. We are going to continue to bring these crazy stories, these crazy news things. And we have to. We just feel like we do this as a public service address, and we just want to let everybody know what's going on, the craziness. So again, we appreciate you subscribing, liking our channel. We continue to grow, and the stories, they continue to grow too. So note to self, if you see a needle, don't touch it. Stay away.
CHP investigators were in Oakland trying to locate some stolen property, but instead they uncovered a massive illegal marijuana operation. The site was a warehouse along 5th Street, visible from Highway 880. And KTV's Janet Katsuyama joins us now to show us what they found inside and then why investigators say these types of operations are so dangerous.
Yes, they're very, very concerned about these kinds of things, Claudine. And it really came as a surprise to the CHP, who discovered the marijuana last Tuesday. Today, officials told me they finished processing the scene and found more than 25,000 of these plants. People renting spaces next to the illegal operation didn't want to be on camera, but they told me the grower would leave the doors wide open and was so casual about the cannabis, they thought it was legitimate.
Why wouldn't they legalize this stuff?
When CHP investigators rolled up to this Oakland warehouse parking lot along the 1300 block of 5th Street, they were looking for 2 stolen trailers.
When they arrived, these 2 trailers are immediately next to a large warehouse, and part of our operation and our search warrant is to allow us to enter that warehouse and make sure there's not people inside.
And that's when their cargo theft investigation took an unexpected turn.
When these investigators made entry into that building, they entered a room with what they believed at the time to be hundreds of marijuana plants.
Inside the warehouse, they found a massive illegal marijuana cultivation operation.
Excuse me, do you have a lighter?
The Department of Cannabis Control was called in, and these pictures show how they seized 25,000 cannabis plants valued at more than $20 million.
The majority of the plants were relatively small because it was likely a clone factory. So it was intended to develop lots of plants for sale to others.
The Cannabis Control's commander, Kevin McInerney, says they also seized 2 firearms and illegal pesticides.
Does anyone know what this is?
No pesticides that are labeled in other than English are allowed for use in the United States. Plus, we don't really know what the pesticides are.
McInerney says the illicit market is large, and according to state data, Alameda County has been one of the most active sites in the state for illegal cannabis operation busts.
It completely undermines the legal market, and the legal market provides safe products that have been tested, have been grown safely, organically, versus the illicit market where there's heavy metals, pesticides, potential exposure to herbicides.
Really? That doesn't sound good.
The Department of Cannabis Control is also concerned about links to organized crime.
All we're doing by making purchases from the illicit market is funding more money to the Chinese money laundering organizations that launder the money for the Mexican cartels.
I can't believe this. You know, Terry, it was a while back. They said that California was going to have another gold rush. And you know what the gold rush was? It was cannabis. And imagine that. California messed up the one thing that maybe they had a chance of doing correctly.
I don't know, David. I think it's more of they went green. I'll tell you that. They went green because they went for marijuana. And they said, all this black market will go away. All you got to do is legalize it and it'll go away. It's the answer to all of our problems. And they legalized it. And now they just found 25,000 pot plants illegally with who knows what sprayed on it. I guarantee you it is not passed by the Food and Drug Administration with all these Chinese markings on it.
It's only worth $25 million. So, yeah. I mean,
David, $20 million. I guess it's about 90 cents a plant. So 25,000. So only 20 million. But who knows how many other warehouses there are in California doing exactly the same thing. I know our friends at California Insider, they did a story about all of the illegal grows going on all around California run by cartels. And yet this was the answer. Just legalize it. So I say we legalize LSD. I say we legalize heroin because we want those black markets to go away too.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, guys, this is so crazy what's going on in California. And, you know, again, we had our weekly meeting today and Terry's got like 20 different stories and we have to handpick. We just can't bring you all the news, but, you know, we're kind of handpicking it. And again, I want to thank you guys for subscribing and watching our show. We enjoy this. We hope you're enjoying it. And by the way, stick around for the end. We've got a little surprise feature. We don't want to tell them yet, do we, Terry, about the surprise feature?
No, just more good news from the South.
Well, thanks again for tuning in and make sure you like and subscribe and share our channel. It just keeps on growing and growing.
Good morning and welcome to the Tom Brokaw News Center here at Universal City. I'm Conan Nolan. If there was any doubt that Governor Gavin Newsom was running for president in 2028, it appeared to go away this week with the first edition of his new podcast. This is Gavin Newsom. Consider that the governor invited as his first guest Charlie Kirk, a pro-Donald Trump conservative who runs Turning Point USA, a group which takes the conservative message to college campuses, most recently at USC and Cal State Northridge. He's popular with young men, a group Democrats lost in the last election, and has, as it turned out, a fan in the governor's 13-year-old son. In the discussion with Mr. Kirk, the governor became the first national Democrat to reject several cultural and policy positions that at least the leadership of his party has or had embraced and were proven to be a liability in the last election. He called the defund police movement lunacy, questioned the leadership of the Black Lives Matter movement, distanced himself from the left's use of gender pronouns, as well as the effort to gender neutralize the Spanish language by the use of the term Latinx.
Well, other than that,
all of that received serious condemnation from scores of progressive Democrats. State Senator Scott Wiener of San Francisco expressed outrage that Newsom even talked to Charlie Kirk, whom he called a vile bigot. But what got the most attention was this comment from the governor about allowing transgender athletes to compete in female youth sports.
It's like you right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports, that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out and say no.
No, and I appreciate.
But like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that.
He said it. He said it.
It's deeply unfair.
Would you speak?
I revere sports, and so the issue of fairness is completely legit.
Your buddy, your friend, that guy, the big guy, you know, the California big guy, the Newsom guy. Looks like he's got a
more
new
hair than me, by the way. Just
he's got a new career, Terry. This guy is what's he starting over there? What's that all about?
Well, with all his spare time, why not start a podcast? I mean, you know, you've only had half of Los Angeles burned down. You have a refinery that caught on fire in the Bay Area that causing gas prices to spike, which wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. And he's running for president. Really, this is all about this man running for president. That's the only reason he's doing this. He couldn't care less what Charlie Kirk thinks or says. He hasn't changed a thing in his mind. Don't let this guy fool you.
Terry, I got a question for you. So
I'm ready.
Seriously.
Yeah.
If Newsom calls you tomorrow and he said, "Hey, Terry Gilliam, I saw that you've got Leaving California with over 300,000 members. Do you want to be on my podcast?" What would you say?
In a heartbeat. Absolutely. Just be ready.
All right. You heard it first on our channel. Mr. Newsom, if you would like to have Terry Gilliam appear on your podcast and talk about all of the issues about leaving California and why so many people are leaving. By the way, anybody that sees this or anybody that has a connection to get this to Mr. Newsom, please share it with Mr. Newsom. Terry Gilliam made a public statement today. Oh, you get so excited. I just hit my microphone. Terry is going to join Mr. Newsom, and we're going to talk about the real facts of why so many people are leaving California. We would love that opportunity.
I just have one request, though. It needs to be a 5-hour podcast so that I can touch upon some of the things that are the problems in California, because I don't know if certainly not 2 or 3 hours was not enough time to let him know. Of course, he's going to spin everything. Spin. California utopia. Oh, that's right. We got to do the Newsom, right? I guess that's the Trump.
Is that kind of a thing in California? I wasn't really familiar with that. If your political career is kind of going down the drain, you're supposed to start a podcast. Is that the normal?
Well, okay. So who else is going to start one now? Someone who may run for governor. We're going to have the Kamala Harris podcast coming out next because she's going to run for governor. Oh my gosh! Look. There's not enough moving trucks. If she runs for governor and gets elected, there's not enough moving trucks to get the people out. I'm telling you right now, it will be an absolute disaster. Moving companies, get ready. If she runs and she wins, you better bulk up on those moving trucks.
I know I say this on every episode, but I'm going to go for it. You know, Democratic, Republican. It just seems to me, Terry, that the Democrats, they don't want to answer questions. They like to talk in circles. At least the new president, when they ask him a question, he will answer it. Even if it's not, if he knows that they really don't want to hear his answer, he'll still answer that question. But it just seems like Democrats, especially Newsom, he just wants to talk in circles. He never really answers any questions. So if you haven't watched the Charlie Kirk interview, you got to check it out. But did you get that take as well? Because that's the way I kind of interpreted it.
They go with emotion. They don't go with logic. They go with emotion. Oh, you don't want to save the planet? Do you want dirty water? Do you want your children to die of disease? Do you want? It's all emotion. There's no logic to it.
Well, this is about as political as we've ever gotten on any of our shows. So if you don't like politics, we apologize. But we're just giving you the news. We're just saying it from our perspective. If you don't agree, let us know. If you do agree, definitely let us know. And no matter whether you agree or disagree, we want you to continue to like, share, subscribe to our channel. Keep helping us make it grow. We're just here to help people. And by the way, another catchphrase that I learned from Terry Gilliam: if you don't want to leave and you're happy, please, we're asking you, please stay. Please continue to stay there. But if you're not happy and you think there's a better life, reach out to us and we can show you there's so many better things.
Continuing coverage now on efforts to fight the housing shortage in Knoxville. One developer is trying two strategies the city hopes will help fill the gap, all in one project. 6 on Your Side reporter Ella Wales has more on his plans.
Two duplexes are being built here on the corner of East Woodland Avenue and Cornelia Street. The project, an example of both middle housing and infill housing. Middle housing refers to multi-unit housing like duplexes and townhomes, which can make better use of lots that originally held single-family homes.
I think that the fact that we can get multi-units on these small lots, if you think just the numbers, if there were 2 housing or dwelling units here in the past, and now there are 4, that just increases the ability for people to live.
Each of the 4 units will have 2 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. According to the City of Knoxville's Housing and Neighborhood Development Department, the biggest demand has been for smaller units. Stanley says he's seen the high demand for housing firsthand.
The other houses that I've built, I've kind of staked a yard sign out front and just put my number on it. And I've had, probably 50, 60, 70 people call me just asking about rent. And you can tell that there's definitely a shortage.
Infill housing refers to building new units on vacant lots in already established neighborhoods. A few in North Knoxville have been the site of development.
I love Old North. There's a lot of stuff happening here. Curb construction has, I think, 17 townhomes going up just down the street. And then I've built a couple houses on East Oldham Avenue, just the street over here. I would drive by this property every day, and I would be like, it's such a great piece, and I would love to be able to do something there.
Stanley expects the duplexes to be completed in June. Reporting in Knoxville, Ella Wales, 6 on Your Side.
Wow. All these cities that we traveled to in the South. For those of you that don't know, we did our Southern Freedom Tour, where Terry and I went around to these different cities in the South. These are some of the top migration cities that people are choosing. And we loved, this one is about Knoxville, and Terry and I we fell in love with Knoxville. It's an amazing city. And Terry, it looks like they're kind of busting at the seams. They've got so many people coming in there. Why are so many people going to Knoxville?
East Tennessee is a wonderful place. I was there 5 years ago with Haley Van Edom. We also have Amy Lee Lucas. We work with their amazing realtors. Haley showed me brand new construction. I think it was about a 2,100 square foot house. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, maybe 4-2. It was $325,000 at the time. That house is easily $500,000 today. People have discovered Knoxville, but there's still plenty of areas around Knoxville, Maryville. We saw the Blount County schools. The Blount County schools, the school board, or the leaders of the school met with us when we were in Knoxville. Amazing what they do. You can take wood shop, you can take metal shop, you can take welding in high school. You can take welding to teach technical stuff, not just the computer stuff and everything else. And so they teach the kids, they don't indoctrinate. And of course, you have the University of Tennessee right there too.
On the tour, we met with person after person, and they were so warm, and they were bragging, literally. They were bragging about the fact that they don't overregulate, they don't overtax, and they have these big welcoming arms to people that come to their communities. If you're thinking about leaving, and Tennessee is an amazing place. It's not, sometimes people say, well, I don't want to go because then they're going to know I'm from California. And no, it's not like that at all. They want you. They welcome you. They're neighborly, and they're not over-regulating you. And they brag about it. Terry, in California, they brag about the fact that they're going to raise the taxes, that they're going to make it harder for you to rebuild where all the fires were. We're going to make it harder for new businesses to get permits. It's crazy. We're talking complete opposite. And Terry's favorite phrase in the world: leaving California, welcome to America. I know this video is getting a little long, but I'm kind of passionate about some of these amazing cities we saw. What else you got? I want to add to this, Terry. I know you got a lot of feelings towards this.
Well, first, I would just say, just going back, if you do move from California, go ahead and change those plates pretty quick. People in Tennessee, they don't mind if you're there for the right reason. They don't want you to come here and say, oh, we need to change the climate. We need to raise taxes. I met a guy in Cookeville, Tennessee. I think he was a veteran because they take care of veterans in Tennessee. What a concept. I think he was paying $50 a month for property taxes on his $400,000 house. No state income tax. I'm telling you, if you want more money in your pocket and you want to live in a state that has the same values you do, definitely consider the Knoxville area, Nashville area. And by the way, again, just to emphasize, all of these surrounding areas have wonderful suburbs and areas that you can get acreage, and you're not that far from downtown. It's not like living in Stockton and trying to work in San Francisco. It's you can be close to work, and there's some great places with great schools. I'm telling you, life is so much better. I'm coming up on 4 years back in Florida again. Love it here. Love my neighbors. Life is good.
Well, guys, we also want to let you know that we have so many different vendors. We have 400 realtors across the country. We offer free consultations. Terry and I, we felt so passionate about this movement of leaving California that we actually spent 11 days. Terry drove, I think, 3,000 miles. It was a crazy number. He drove the whole way, and we wanted to give you these resources because we want to help people that want to leave. So if you're not familiar with our resources, please reach out to me or Terry. We have so many things that we offer to help people leave California effectively and efficiently. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing, sharing our videos. It continues to grow, and it's because of you guys for watching us. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.